Hi, this is the drag and drop program. The reason I wrote this program was to learn how to capture mouse events, clicks, drags, drops, etc. The toys that we have on the screen here to play with while you're doing so include this canvas, which gives you a dot for each event, each move event in this case. If I hit this button here, then I get them for drop events, which, as you can see, happen a lot more often. You get a better line out of them. What's also different about the drop events is that they continue all the time. So when I stop here, maybe kind of hard to see in the video, but the end dot here keeps getting darker and darker because the events keep firing. And you don't get that in the move. When I stop on a move, if you don't move, you don't get a move event. This box down here, the drop before, just a box sorter. You drop a box on another box, it inserts before. Just something to have to drag and drop while you watch the events occurring over here on the screen. This other one is a little bit more interesting. The drop in, these are also divides, they're also floating left, but they have various widths and they drop in. You can stretch them out. You kind of see how boxes would arrange on the screen. It's kind of fun to see things sort of pop, change shapes, try to figure out what's going to happen if you put this or that in the other thing. Try to arrange, try to see how tall a structure you can create, how wide a structure you can create, so on and so forth. But what's fun here is that these divides have events attached to them. On the mouse down, you get the border turning black, and then on the mouse up, you get the border turned off again. Events, of course, fire rapidly, almost instantly. What I've done is I've built a lag into the action so you can see them cascading. So mouse down, mouse up. If I just hold the mouse button down, so they all stay on there until I release it. It waits the amount of time that it was expecting the mouse down events to take, and then it turns off all the borders. And the other thing you can play with here is if you notice in the lower corner, you've got these numbers that just indicates what size they originally are. So if you stretch a box out, you know that this one's been stretched, it's a 1, but it's got a 7 inside of it. The ones with a T, for example, that means that use capture was set to true when I attach the event. And what that means is that event will fire first. So if I put that into the cascade, if I click here, it goes, and then the other events fire. Same thing, of course, on the mouse up, it fires first, and then the rest of them fire. First I thought that was kind of silly, but I've actually found some really neat uses for it. So you can see that no matter which one of these I press, the T goes first, then the rest of the events fire. The other thing I wanted to demonstrate here was the preventing propagation. So the D here will prevent propagation on the mouse down event. So if I click on this one again, well, the T fires first, then the others, and then everything stops on the mouse down. At this point, the mouse up isn't stopped, so that's why it still went and turned off all the borders, which get turned on once in a while when you drag and drop stuff. So there it stopped. So now if I put, I've also got one for mouse up. If I put that in here, maybe add a few for dramatic effect. I click on that, the mouse down event propagates fully, but then the mouse up stops after that one and doesn't turn the rest of these off. So to turn these off, now I got to use this one, which would stop the mouse down event, but the mouse up event will cascade and still turn them all the way off. This one's a no op. Really is kind of boring, but it gets skipped. Wherever you put it, it just gets skipped. So while you're playing with all these, you need to also be watching this panel over here. This will show you the values for your screen positioning, scroll positioning, and all the the other attributes that are available for each event. This is all the events that I'm trapping and a counter for how often they trap. You know, mouse move is going all the time. racking up some pretty big numbers, and it gives you the target ID for the current divide. So I'm floating around over here, get these events, and you can see the positions shifting around. Sometimes you get very small numbers in the positions because of the various divides. It depends on how they're positioned, relative or static or whatever. They also vary from browser to browser. Some browsers don't count for the border, others do. This is really unfortunate. It's something you have to deal with. The layer is where the problem occurs. Some browsers are good, some browsers aren't. That's why you need to keep this around, play with it, and then browsers change. So sometimes things happen. So here you can watch. So if I start to drag, you can see that the drag counters continue to roll even though I've stopped. Up here, if I do a move, I'm in move, you get the move counters running. Of course, you can only get move or drag at the same time. This can be moved around. This gives you move events. Scroll is interesting too. This is big enough that almost any screen you can scroll it. However, page level information isn't available on every browser. Scroll left and scroll top here. In Chrome here, for example, doesn't show up. Other browsers it does. So in these browsers, what you'd have to use is the Windows Scroll X or Scroll Y, which is probably not that big a deal because in fact that's probably available. I haven't really tested it, but that's probably available all the time. That's not event driven. That's something you can check it at just any time, get you the position of your web page on the screen. You can also get the play with scroll values a little bit over here. So you get the scroll X or the scroll left or the top anyway in this window. And what this is a fire list of the clicking events. It doesn't fire on a mouse move or whatever, as it would just fill with mouse moves, and you can tell that's going on because you can see the counters incrementing over here. What this will show you is if you click somewhere, stop double clicking, just click, you'll see you get a mouse down, mouse up, and a click event every time. If you double click, you can see you get your mouse down, your mouse up, you click, and a double click. So if you want to put a double click on something and you also want to have a click behavior on that, then you need to make sure that those are compatible. Or what I've had to do once was I wanted to double click, and so anytime I get a double click I have to undo the click. It's a little kludgy, but it worked. It was a good solution at the time. So that's the drag and drop program. Like I said, it'll vary from browser to browser. You need to check it out on all the browsers. To give you an example of a difference though, this box up here can be moved around just for fun, early experiment, trying to move things around. Watch what it does in Firefox. Yeah. Now who wants that behavior? I mean I do now, but really that's just amazes me how different the browsers can be in the way they handle stuff. So anyhow, this was really handy. I still use it now and then to double check on why I am or am not getting the behaviors I want. Hopefully it will help you too. So enjoy.